Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of Married at First Sight, season 18. My guest today is Ayme from Little Miss Recap Pod, where you can find recaps of so many shows like Sister Wives, 90 Day Fiance, Life After Lockup, so much more I can't even list here. But I'm excited to have her on. Hi, Ayme. How are you?
Hi, Teen. I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We finally got a new season. Can't believe
Yeah,
it.
I have to say I'm so excited to be here because like I told you off air, I have been listening to you guys for so long.
Oh,
So it's
appreciate
really
it.
fun. It's really fun to be here.
Yeah, I always say like MAFS is like a niche kind of community. So
It
there's not like
is.
a lot of us, out there, but it's, kind of cool when we can get to collaborate and do things together.
There's not a lot left of us out here, and it's getting less and less as we go.
It is, and it's their fault. Like, so we're hanging on by a thread. But I mean, that's a good segue. Like,
Mhm.
what is your history with MAFS? Can you share, how you got into it and all that?
Yeah. So I have been watching from the beginning. In fact, one of my favorite couples, and I always forget his name, the woman's name was Lily, and he lived in a bus. Do you remember them?
David, Miami.
Yes.
Yes, and
They
they
were my favorite couple. Like I've been watching it that long and I loved it. I covered it. I had a podcast called 6 Degrees of Reality TV a few years ago and I covered it, with a
ah,
friend. And then I covered it a little bit on Little Miss Recap, which is my current
yeah.
podcast, but I if I want it, look, if you have to pick. You can't do 90 Day and Married at First Sight cuz 90 Day is just a
Oh God.
marathon as well.
Yes. Yes,
S-
absolutely.
So I've been watching forever. I love it. I'll never quit. If there's two viewers left in the world for the show, it'll be you and I have a feeling.
Yes, it will.
But
Yes, it will be.
I'll watch it till the end, just like Sister Wives. I'll watch it to the end.
Oh, Sister Wives. But before I deviate, I know people are probably throwing stuff. It is Tom and Lily. I don't know why I said
Oh,
David,
Tom
but
and Lily. Sorry. Yeah, yeah,
Tom and
yeah.
Lily.
Okay.
Yes,
And I
yes,
agreed right
yes.
with you. You could have said
I
his
know.
name was Fred. His name was
Yes.
Cody Brown. Oh, right.
Oh
Yes.
God. I feel like we need to do a whole separate conversation with Sister Wives
Mm,
because
mm.
people I don't know should not raise my blood pressure this much. Like Cody is the worstest, but
Oh, let
separate
me tell you
conversation.
something. It is, I won't get too deep into it, but just know that we are currently a nation of a little bit of turmoil. We're in the middle of a pretty, crazy
Yeah,
election here. I'm
yeah.
just channeling my rage at Cody Brown, and it's helping. It's like a form of therapy.
I mean, he's giving you information. He's giving you
Yeah,
fodder to
yeah,
hate him because
yeah.
who knew Sonny and Cher were that important?
Oh my God. And by the way, like we talked about this on last week's episode, Sonny Bono was an asshole to share. So like their divorce was a long time coming.
It, yes, and it's just so random. Like, how
I
old was
know. I can't believe
Six?
I'm
Like,
talking about 40-year-old divorces here.
it's Cody, so
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't make
Cody.
sense. Okay,
Hmm.
so I don't want to dredge up, bad memories and stuff about season 17, but after everything we went through as a family, as a Maths family with season 17, what is your state of mind in going into season 18?
Okay, season 17 was a mess. And
Hot one.
I think they know it. I think they knew it. I think they were like, and here's the thing. I think season 18 was already filmed, obviously, when 17
Mm-hmm.
was airing. So they were
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh shit, what do we do? Do we throw it away? Do we just keep
Mm-hmm.
going? Do we pretend it never happened?" And I think they really dragged their feet. Now, I will say that I talked to a cast member that I'm friendly with, and
Okay.
he said he thinks they're trying to get on like a 6-month schedule where it's going to be running like October through, March or April.
Okay.
And I said, okay, maybe, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm guessing so. I think last season threw them for a loop because I still stand by it. We don't know why, but I think it took them a while because of the Runaway Bride, like having
Yeah.
to cut that out because they
Yeah.
done a pretty good job. Like I don't even think Mass Fan has posted who that was.
I don't
If
even
she
think
did, I missed
Reddit
it.
found her.
Yes. So kudos to them for that. And I
Yeah.
think that threw them for a loop. And then they're like, okay, let's get back to some kind of schedule that's like once a year or something, which they should do from
Yeah.
jump. But how did that alter how you feel about season 18? Were you like, it's back, or like, maybe a fresh start? Was the
Well,
time good?
I mean, here's the thing. It's the same production company as Love is Blind, obviously.
Yes.
Love is Blind screwed up. They really screwed up. Like season 2 was a disaster. And they
Hmm.
came back. I feel like they came back. They've had their ups and downs, but they mostly recovered for that. So I'm hoping that whatever lessons these people took from season 17 they apply going forward. One of them would be to not cast people like Emily who've never been in a relationship. That
That's
was
a battle
so
we're gonna
weird.
lose. That's a battle we're gonna lose. They're gonna do that again. Well, that's the thing though, because they've already filmed,
Mhm.
they don't learn from whatever mistakes that they made. And I think the disadvantage Married at First Sight has, it's like it's 6 months of your entire life, while Love is Blind is like 4 weeks or 5 weeks, and you're
Yeah.
able to get over it. But
Yeah.
Married at First Sight beats you over the head with
Yeah,
it.
and it's funny because I actually like the concept of Married at First Sight better,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they need to I was talking about this on Love is Blind, like they need to find a way. Social media is not going away. It is part of the
Mm-mm.
equation now. So
Mm-hmm.
how do we find a way to either integrate it, work around it, maybe do what Love Island is doing? I don't know, but they need to figure this out
Yeah.
cuz it's people are going on these shows to get more followers. Like that's become
Yeah.
very clear. I
Very,
don't know.
very
This
clear.
season, though, I really like that a lot of these people are older,
Yeah.
and that gives me a little bit of hope.
That
I don't
makes
know.
one of us.
Yeah,
I don't think age
I'm a
makes
hopeless romantic. I'm going into it.
Okay. I mean, we need hopeless romantics in the world. Everybody can be
I
like
mean, I think
me.
I'll be let down. Let me just say, I know I will be let down, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I always believe in love after the first episode, and then it's all downhill from there.
Gotta know better, Amy. Gotta know
Mm-hmm.
better.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, we dive into the episode with the last wedding, which is David and Michelle. I have been
Mm.
so hard on David, just
Mm.
judging this poor guy and his man bun
Yeah.
the entire time, and he really hasn't done anything yet. But I'm a
Well,
human being, and that's what we do.
when she said he looked like a genie, I was kind of like, nailed it.
Oh, I felt so bad for him
I
because
felt terrible too, but like it was pretty accurate. Like I was like,
I mean, yeah, I didn't think of it until she said it,
okay.
but he's been waxing poetic nonstop about her blonde hair,
Yeah.
blue eyes, that I don't
Yeah.
even know if he realizes she's a human being and he's just focused on those features. But for her come back to be a genie, I was like, oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
But he took it
Yeah.
in stride. He took it in stride,
He did. He did. He took a lot in stride this episode.
He sure did.
Mhm.
Um, Michelle is nervous because she tells us she is so independent, so therefore the experts are going to match her with someone who lives in their parents' basement because why not?
Of course. Yeah. Mhm.
They both have huge smiles when they come in. He says, "Hello, beautiful." And he does do something nice. He immediately goes to her parents, thanks them for, supporting her. And it's just really sweet. And I'm like, okay, that's nice. It didn't seem performative to me.
Okay, did you watch After Party?
Yes, I did.
he he went up to her sister and said, "Are you her mother?"
I mean,
The
honest
poor
mistake, the
guy. I
nerves.
know. The pour guy.
Still a nice gesture, but yes, that he did that.
That would
They
totally happen to me. I just know it.
um in the family and friends intro, which I usually think like this is the time for you to say nice things, not try to be cute or try to be funny, because sometimes it goes left. But they do
Yeah.
mention that she likes a quiet night with her three babies, Walter, Trixie, Lily, and everyone is like, three kids. And then she looks at them and she's like, they're animals, guys. And I'm like, guys, MAFS is not gonna, this is not MAFS
No.
Australia. They're not gonna cast people with kids. Don't worry.
This is
Calm
not
down.
Tyler on Love is Blind. No. Mm-mm.
Oh man, it's so, and that's the other thing I'll say about season 18 airing at the same time as Love is Blind. It's so hard not to see where they cross over, because
Yeah.
they do cross over in so many ways. So it's very easy to just talk about the shows
Yeah.
together at the same time.
Yeah. I agree.
They mentioned David is a mama's boy, which I don't know how people feel, but I that would not be a green flag for me if someone says they're a
Um,
mama's boy.
yeah, and what do we mean by mama's boy? Like there's a lot of daylight between somebody who just like loves their mother and respects their mother
Hmm.
and somebody who, is coddled by their mother.
Yes.
So, we don't know.
If I was writing a friends and family intro, I would keep that out because people seem to forget they're just meeting for the first time. They have absolutely no context. They have no idea about anything, and that could be
True.
taken to mean anything. And you're trying to put them in their best light for first impressions. So,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
yeah, David's parents were cute. His dad was like a little stealing kisses, kissing her
Mhm.
his mom's hand. At the end of the day, after all the vows, they both, Michelle and David, kiss, and that means all our couples kissed at the altars, which means, or which would make you assume that this would be a good season, but we know better, you know.
Yeah, and they did all ask for consent, which was
Yes.
interesting. Yeah, I thought that was nice.
Yes, they
Mhm.
are living in 2024.
Yep.
So, so David says it's a sigh of relief and he hit the jackpot. He can't stop smiling. He tells her he's so happy. They sit for their champagne chat. At least that's what we call it. And he's like, he had a vision. Once again, he mentions they nailed it to a T. And
Mhm.
then she finds out that it's his birthday and he's 36. And they both, and I say allegedly, say that they drink socially because nothing about David screams that he just drinks socially. And again, I'm judging because I have no facts. I don't know this man
Yeah, yeah.
from a
Mhm.
ghetto page. But he doesn't stop there. He mentions that, oh, I also socially smoke. And this girl did not skip a beat. She's like, that's gross.
Gross. Yeah. Okay. So I have to disclose to you that my husband smokes.
Okay.
And I used to years ago. I quit. My kids are 17, so I quit 18 years ago.
Okay.
And so I'm not super judgy about that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will say I am really happy and surprised at how it has just gone out of fashion. Like my girls are seniors in high school, and we were just talking about this the other night. My one daughter mentioned somebody smoking in her class, like, "Oh, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't smoke anymore." And I go, "Cigarettes?" And she's like, "No, mom, weed." And I'm like, "Oh." She
Oh,
goes she goes, "Nobody smokes cigarettes anymore." I said, "Not one person at your school smokes cigarettes." She said, "No." I was like, "Well, that's good." I mean, I don't know if the vaping's any better, but you know.
exactly. I was gonna say because
Mhm.
they switched to vape. I think even
Yeah.
David was like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. I hope to stop, but I'll just stick to the vaping." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Sir,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what it is." But I think my first two thoughts were she should have said that was a hard no,
Yes.
and
If
that
if
for
you
her.
know what though, Tane, I wonder if she like my daughters just didn't think that anybody kind of does that anymore.
That's true, but then there's also the other option of she might have mentioned it, and the experts were like, "That's a little thing," because maybe David was like, "I
Oh
could quit.
god.
I do it
Yeah.
socially. It's not anything." Because remember, Jamie and Doug went through this,
Mhm.
and the
Mhm.
couple with the shortest separation, where they separated in the honeymoon, I think his name was Derek. I can't remember her name, but it was his was Derek. She found out
Oh.
he smoked, and they split.
Oh, they were in
So
Miami too, weren't they?
I think so. I
Yeah,
want to say she was
they
blonde.
got in a fight on the balcony.
Yes.
I
I
remember
see
it.
a beach.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. And she
Mhm.
was mad that he smoked and he was like, "You lied.
Yes.
You said you just did it." So this is not new to maths. And I can never vouch for the experts because you say, "I want this," they're going to give you the
Ugh,
other. So
yeah.
one or the other should have said it was a hard no for her, or they should have like taken that seriously. But
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
yeah, she said gross. So they talk about where they live, and she says, "Oh, I'm a city person, absolute city person." And last week, my co host asked how I thought this was going to come up. And this is exactly how I thought it was going to come up at the champagne chat. And he's going
Yeah.
to be like, "Oh, where do you live?" And he's like, "Yeah, I live with my parents in the basement." I
Mhm.
can't remember exactly what he said. And she goes, "Oh my God, that's crazy."
Well, he lives in the basement, which somehow makes it worse. I don't know how, but it does. But he does say that he used to have a bar that he renovated into a studio apartment, a 2,500 square foot studio, which would have been awesome. And he
Oh,
decided to sell it and move back home. So, like, it's not like he's never left the nest. You know what I mean?
all right, help me out, Amy, because I had that down. I was like, maybe it made sense to you. What does that mean that he was living in an empty bar that he turned into a condo? And then after he said we decided to sell, who is we?
I think my suspicion is that his parents may have money and they
Mm.
financed it and they came together as a, as a group to decide that he should sell it and move back to their home.
Hmm.
So when he says we, it's me and my parents. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, that's still a lot of involvement for a
Yeah.
36
Oh
year
yeah.
old.
They're very involved. They're very involved.
Also, wow, that's a lot of work to turn a bar into a condo.
Yeah, that'd be
I would
awesome.
think.
That's done around here a lot. I live in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and we have a lot
Oh,
of abandoned churches, and people
uh-huh.
convert churches into things all the time around here. It's pretty cool.
Oh, nice. All right, so we move on to picture time. Is still giddy. I mean, nothing can take her smiles and happiness away. Like you could come and say, "This man is a felon," and she'd be like, "That's my husband." So it's okay.
She's a
So they're
lot.
taking. Oh, she's just happy to be married.
Mhm.
They're taking pictures, and she's like, "Did y'all meet my husband? Did y'all meet my husband?" And we're never gonna live down this banana joke because apparently this banana made it to the photo shoot.
Oh my god, I know. I was like, "Okay, it wasn't that funny."
Really
Question
wasn't.
for you.
Yes.
I listened to your episode last week, but I
Mhm.
apologize because I didn't hear if you and was it Jason that you were with?
Yes,
I
yes, I
did
was with
not hear if
Jason.
you and Jason covered this. Is she taller than Ikechi?
My eyes and my glasses tell me that she is, but she's in heels.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So
I
other
just
than that,
wonder if
I don't
that's
know.
going to come into play here.
Oh, they got a lot of stuff to worry about, Amy, before they get to the heights. They got a lot of other stuff.
I know. I know. And you would think
Ah,
that that doesn't make a big deal, but I'm telling you, my dad is short and it's like always been a thing. My husband is 6 foot, but my dad is like 5'9", 5'8", maybe. It's a
yeah.
thing. It's a thing. Sometimes they can't get out of their heads about it. You know what I mean?
Yes, and Ikechi is the kind of person where it'll be a thing. But he
Yeah,
might
it's going
also
to be a thing.
recognize how it is and he might not say it, but who knows?
Mhm.
Everything is a thing with Ikechi. That's the problem.
Yep, I agree.
So,
He's the
um,
Orion of season 18.
oh, I wouldn't do that to him. I
Oh,
really despise Orion. So no,
I
I
do
as
too.
much as I'm hard on Ikechi, I won't give that to him yet. At
I'm
least
sorry, Ikechi. You didn't deserve that.
look at me standing up for Ikechi. Thank you, Amy. So Carla and Juan are taking their pictures. I gotta tell you, their pictures look really good, and they keep
They're a
kissing.
hot couple. They are a
Yes.
hot couple.
Jasmine and Aladdin in the flesh.
Mhm.
Carla says it feels right. Juan says he's excited. Last week I wasn't sure where Juan stood, but he seems excited. He is showing emotion this episode, but I still sense a reservation, but I'm
Yeah,
just
I
going to
do
be in the
too.
moment. I'm going to be in the moment, and he's excited and he keeps kissing her. He asks her about her parents and she explains everything that happened, and he says they understand. And like, Jason said last week, on paper, everything should be fine. They meet each other's families, they're all speaking Spanish, it's all good vibes, and it's like,
Mhm.
what could go wrong? Well, it's math.
Oh, I
So,
could tell you what could go wrong. He's given a speech and he's like crying, saying like what a hardworking immigrant family he has and how he busted his ass to get where he is. And she's just like, I'm gonna manifest money. I think that's gonna
ah,
be the problem.
oh, it is. Did you see the
Hmm.
preview?
Yes.
The season preview where she's
Yes.
like,
Yep.
well, I quit my job today. And he's
Yeah.
like, excuse me?
Yeah. He's like, no, 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 no. Yeah. Their work ethics are a little different, I think. I'm not saying she doesn't work hard, but I think she just
Hmm.
has a different philosophy about it,
Yeah.
and he's
Hmm.
really driven.
Yes, absolutely. Our sleeper surprise couple, Madison and Alan, are just trucking along. Madison is so happy and
Mhm.
says that he's not her typical type, but she does see why the experts matched him, and he has a gentle and kind way about him, and it's clear that he's ready for marriage and for love. Alan is like, I can see us creating a life already and create a family that I didn't have. And they do a round robin of all the couples coming into their reception, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone is dancing except Ikechi and MM. Now, this could be
Mm.
edit, but I'm
Yeah.
choosing to read into it.
It's my show and I'm choosing to read into
You damn Skippy.
So here's the thing with Alan, and I know you didn't ask for my first impressions of him, but I'm gonna give you them.
Of
Um
course.
I feel like there's maybe serial killer vibes coming off of him, but that's just my problem over here. I think these two, and I know I'm going to be wrong, and I know I'm going to be proven wrong, but
Okay.
I think he is very clearly punching above his weight with her, and he knows that, and he recognizes it, and that could work. You know, they always say to marry a man who loves you a little bit more than you love them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could work, but then again, we see him like I don't know, freaking out on a stove in the upcoming episode. So
That
who knows?
that is true. I think
Hmm.
going back to the serial killer vibes that you said, there might be a lot of repressed stuff
Yeah,
from all the things he's been through, and maybe I didn't think about that, but again, the season preview, seeing him punch something, and then I
yeah.
saw ek no MM hugging someone that could either be him or
It was
Thomas,
him.
because they were tall. It was him.
I think it
Okay.
was him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so something is afoot, but I'm really rooting for them.
Yeah, I like them both so far. Everything I've seen,
Yeah,
I like them both. Yeah.
yeah. So, so far, so good.
Like he is
Uh,
blown away by her. He was like, "Oh my god." So I think this could work.
so, why are we. Okay, I think I have the answer, but I'll still ask. Why
Hmm.
are we excited for Alan being so excited and being blown away by by Madison, but we're getting on David's case for being so excited about Michelle?
Good question. I don't know because I think objectively, and people might not agree with me, I think David is a really handsome guy.
Yes.
So I don't know. I feel like he and Michelle are equally matched in their hotness, where I feel like Alan and Madison are not.
Okay, so basically we're rooting for Alan because we're looking at him as an underdog.
Yes. Yes. A serial killer underdog. Yes,
Oh
exactly.
God, poor
An
Alan.
underdog who could snap at any moment.
Oh man. Okay, so we move on to Michelle and David. They're having their first dance. And I don't know if you noticed, Amy. Usually they don't play the actual music because I guess rights, licensing, and all
I
that. But I really
know.
think they're dancing to the actual country music.
I think
Oh,
so too.
whoa. Did Lifetime
Whoa.
get some money? Whoa, whoa.
That did not sound like a Pond 5 original to me. That sounded real.
Yes, it was. And this is where the genie thing happened because he asked her the first impression at their first dance. Oh my God.
I mean,
Said to
he's
Genie.
a handsome genie, but he's a genie.
Well, at this point, I think the hair was a side pony. It wasn't in a bun anymore.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it
yeah,
had
yeah. It
transitioned
had shifted a little bit. Yeah.
transitioned to an 80s side pony. So, versatile hair. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Michelle says that she's overwhelmed and doesn't love how he lives with his parents. And she's focused on that, but she's going to chill. She did not tell David all of that. She told us in a
Yeah,
confessional.
I'm gonna say it, I think she is the ick. I really like them, but I think she is the ick.
She
She's not gonna
does.
recover from this.
She does. She told us, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you saw the matchmaking special, but she did mention something like that. Like she could be judgy and she got the
Oh,
ick, but
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why she'll do that to herself though. It's too early. Like at least give yourself a chance.
Yeah, and why go on a show like this if you're somebody who's super judgmental and prone to the ick?
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't know. For more followers, maybe.
maybe.
And then we get Camille and Thomas, and Thomas reassures her and tells her that she looks beautiful, that she's exactly his type, and she's like, thank you, like it's nice to hear that, and we say that all the time. You can never reassure your partner enough. Like some of
Yep.
these men are just silent and they don't know you, they don't know what you're thinking. Just tell them that they're beautiful. And the same goes for the women too. Just tell them you look nice, and she did the same. She's like, you look pretty dapper, so they're in the same
I
vibe.
love these two. I
I
think they're
agree.
great together.
I
I
think
re-
they are too.
I
I think they're
really like
awkward.
him. I love her energy. I just really like them. I really do.
Yeah, I think they're beautifully awkward
Yeah.
together. I think she's
Yeah.
really shy. Even in after parties, she doesn't really talk much and she's just
Mm-mm.
always quiet and stuff. But I think they're a good
Yeah.
match for
Yeah.
each other. He mentions that his dad would be proud because in the past he's had trouble committing. And Camille said she's feeling like this is someone that she can be safe with and it's helping her put her guard down. Even though personally I still think she looks stiff. She never looks him in the eye. She always looks around everywhere
They
else.
were talking and she was looking directly over his shoulder, not even
Yes.
looking in his face.
Yes.
And for me to
Uh,
notice that, like, I don't notice that kind of stuff. I noticed it immediately. I was like, what is she
so
doing?
that means it was pretty heavy. Pretty
Yeah.
heavy on there. Okay, Juan and Carla. Every season, there's a couple where the crowd or the guests clink glasses and they're like, what does that mean? And
Yeah.
Aiden and I used to argue about that. Like, how do people not know what clinking glasses mean in 2024? But I have accepted that, there are people who just don't know what it means. And this season, it was Juan. She's like, we have to kiss. And he's like, oh, really? That's what it means? But they do kiss. So, yay, them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He asked her about her week and her schedule. This is what Amy was alluding to. And she
Mm-hmm.
says, it varies. I wake up and then I decide what my week is going to be. And one is like, no, for
That
me.
would drive me crazy. Believe it or not, even though I'm a poet and like I have an artist mind, I'm very structured and that would drive me crazy.
Listen, I am so type A. I don't know how people function. Sometimes I am jealous of that. I'm not going to lie. I want
Mm-hmm.
to be like all free, like let it
Yeah.
flow. I don't know what that means. So I just gave up. I
Yeah.
accept that it's not for me. But Juan is in the same camp as we are because he's like, I need a routine. Like, I have a lot of jobs, which she does also. Like, she has three
Mm-hmm.
jobs, I believe.
Yeah, she busts her
And
ass, but it's just not any kind of pattern.
yeah, for her. He talks about work and talks about his construction, talks about an app that he created. She does ask him. I did like the questions that she was asking him because it sounded like she was actually listening and was actually interested in it. And I will say his app sounded very interesting. Like he used to travel a lot for work and he just created an app that when you're in a new city and things like that, you could meet up with other people in the same boat as you or in the
Yeah.
same city, something like that. But it was pretty cool. But he was quick to add there's no money being made with this app.
Yeah. I agree.
And this is where she goes, oh, money doesn't mean a lot to me. Money is energy. I don't really care about money. I'm like, Miss Ma'am,
Money
have
is
you
energy.
have you seen the prices lately? Have you seen inflation? What do you
Have you seen the cult of Mother God? Because you sound just like her. Oh my
mean?
God. This is like bizarre.
I think she's the kind of person that gets a bill and is like, I'm
Mm.
manifesting that this will be resolved, and she'll throw it to the side, and then that will be it.
Yeah, which is so bizarre because, usually you have like people of privilege who are kind of in that mindset, but she doesn't seem like she comes from privilege. So, like, I don't know where this came from. I have no idea.
But that's true. We don't know what her background is, so she might actually be from privilege.
Maybe. I mean, there was no other indicators of it, but possibly. Possibly.
Yeah, yeah, she
Hmm.
might be from, and that's why. Because I don't know how you come from a place of lack and still think money is energy. That is one hell of a leap,
Right.
to
Right.
do that.
Right.
So yeah.
There's this
Um,
couple on Love After Lockup this season, and the one woman's like, "Money just finds me. I just put out my hands to the universe, and money just finds me." And then we find out like her dad is super rich and is just funding her entire life. We're like, "Oh, there you go. So your dad
wait,
finds you and gives you money."
which couple is this?
That Zeruya and Troy.
Oh God, yeah,
Zeruya's dad is like a pastor
a
and has a bunch
pastor.
of money. Yeah, and
Oh
he
God.
funds her whole nonprofit that she runs and everything.
I just got the image and I just she annoys me so much, but
Yeah,
she
she's
actually has a
terrible.
good man, quote unquote, a good man,
Yeah.
and she's
Yeah.
just the worst. But yeah,
Agree.
that makes sense. But yeah,
Mhm.
we'll find out, I guess, later. I mean, her parents are not involved, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So she shares that she had a mind shift and she's here to remind people that all this stuff means nothing and it's all about, family and the love that we have with each other, which again is a nice sentiment, but real
Mhm.
life says otherwise.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
um Camille and Thomas, they do the clinking, they know what that is, and they kiss. He says there's some things she might find annoying, and she goes like, "What?" And he's like, "I'm particular about things." And he eats one thing at a time on his plate. And what does Camille say? "Oh, you know what's funny? I do the same thing. I didn't even know I did it, but my friend pointed it out to me." And I'm just all hard eyes. I really love them as a couple.
I
So
do the same thing. I eat like okay, so I just ate before we start recording. I had steak, I had Brussels sprouts, and I had a little potato. I ate all the Brussels sprouts. I do it in order of what's best last, save the best for last. So I did all of the Brussels sprouts, all of the steak, then the potato. So there you go. I'm a weirdo too, Camille and Thomas.
all right, Amy, that's how my 3-year-old nephew eats. He eats one thing at a time on his plate. So, not saying you eat like a child, but there's a group
Don't
of
take me
y'all.
to a restaurant. It's.
She asked him if he's ever been married, and he says no, but he was in a 9-year relationship that ended 4.5 years ago. She asked
Yeah.
what happened. He says they grew apart, and he says she wanted to be married, and I wasn't sure about it. And then she says, this makes me wonder about his commitment level. If he didn't know after 9 years, how would he know that he's ready to be married now? And I watched way too many reality shows that these things begin to annoy me because
Yeah.
you can tell they're trying to make a story out of it. But this is not an indicator of whether someone is has a commitment issue or something. I mean, you're already married. Like,
No, and staying with somebody for 9 years, even if you end up not marrying them, that's just a piece of paper, right? He still
yeah,
stayed with the relationship for 9 years. That's a commitment.
that is a commitment,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's like, even if at the time he knew he didn't want to be married because,
Mhm.
and this was before we even found out what the story was, my thought
Right.
was like, if someone's with you 9 years and they haven't gotten married, they know that they don't want to
Yeah.
be married. They
Yeah.
just don't know how to get out of it. So I'm
Yeah,
not,
that's a good point.
it's not a commitment level kind of situation. What are you going to do? Ask for an annulment now? I don't know. I
Right.
just really get annoyed when they make that a big deal. But she said she was in a 5-year relationship that ended 7 years ago. But
Yeah.
honestly, the same could be said for her. You were there for 5 years. Does that mean, I mean, they probably broke up because he cheated and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
does that mean like there's a commitment thing? Like, would you have left earlier if he didn't marry you? But you also stayed for 5 years, so
Well, and
we could nitpick.
I think there's a big age difference between them, right? I think he's 42 and she's 32.
I can't remember her age, but
I
yes, he's
think so.
42.
I think so.
Yes.
So like, having if you're 42, I hope you've had some long-term relationships.
Yeah.
And if you're 32 and she had a 5-year relationship, that means some of that happened in your 20s and we all know what that's like.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Sometimes when people say what their relationship was, the follow-up question is how old were you? Someone could
Yeah,
be in college and you could be with your college sweetheart. It could be 18 to 22 and that means nothing.
that means nothing.
So,
Doesn't count.
so yeah, we move on to MM and Ikechi, which honestly I can say with all the boldness in my heart that I don't think these two are together. And that's the lens that I'm using to view them this
Oh,
season.
okay.
I just
Okay.
I don't see it. I was rooting so hard for them once the couples were announced, but they don't seem to vibe and I just don't see them matching. And my side eye is so heavy on Ikechi based on three
Okay. Yeah.
episodes.
I'm with you on this. I just have this feeling, and this is hyperbolic maybe, but I feel like he hates her. And I feel like EKG's the type of person who hates a lot of people. And he's just like, ugh. And I'm not talking about her looks, I'm talking about her energy. I think he's just like, ugh.
I've been calling Ikechi a downer. He just
Yeah.
just loosen up a little bit, my dude. And yes, I agree with you on like the energy level, and I agree. I know what you mean. Not like he actually like hates her. He's
Right,
just
right.
like, ugh,
He would not have picked this woman for himself. Let's put it that way.
yes. Maybe he has like the ick. I think that's
Yeah.
a
And
better. Yeah,
she is beautiful and she deserves someone who's going to like worship at the altar of her. So,
yeah. So they're eating. He asked her why she did this, and she said she's been single for a hot minute. She works a lot. She hates dating sites. Asked him the same. He said it's been a desire for a while, and he's been writing a book that is letters to his wife, and I'm exhausted. Like, just
Yeah.
relax and have a regular conversation.
I'm not
And
gonna lie to you though, this is some bullshit I would fall for. I would be like, oh, you're writing poems for your future wife? Oh my god, that's so hot. I would love it. I would fall for it and I'd get my heart broken.
I think my soul is dead. And I always even say it. I was like, I don't understand when grown women are still like so romantic. Like, oh my God, he did
Listen, I
this
don't
for me.
love romance, but as a writer, if somebody was like, I'm writing poems for you in a book, I'd be like, I'm there.
Okay. I can
Hmm.
I can give grace for that, but
Yep.
when you know the person, when you don't know the person, it could be anyone. It could be a plug and play. Like, who are
Yeah.
you writing to? What are you writing about? What if it doesn't apply to me? Like, what are you doing?
Well, in my role as teacher editor, I would be like, "Can I see these poems before I agree to love you? Because I need to see how good they are. I need to see the quality of this."
So MM asked, "Oh, why didn't you give me the book?" And he was like, "Oh, because I can write a whole new set." And I'm like, I know he feels like
Mm.
he ate with that. Like, ooh, I can write. I would get the ick so bad. I would be terrible for
It
Ikechi.
depends. This could be done in a sexy way, but I feel like it's not going that way right now with him.
I mean, different strokes. If you ask MM,
Yeah.
it's working for her. So hey.
Right.
She she asked if he would consider her his type. He says, and I quote, "You are definitely beautiful, and I don't necessarily have a type." And all I heard was that he
Was
didn't
no.
say yes. Exactly. He did
Right?
not say yes.
Exactly.
So,
Teen, what
not
is
looking
the
good.
opposite of yes?
It's a no for me, dog.
Yep.
So they're talking, and then there's an announcement. Everyone come to the piano. And then they're there, and he introduces his friends, says that these are some of his favorite musical people.
Okay, now
And
this is too much. This is too much for me. I'm out at this point. Now
oh,
I'm done.
this is where you draw the line.
Yeah, I stuck in for the poetry. This I'm done.
And then he calls her wife, and MM is like husband, and she's like wife, and she's
No,
like husband. And then he said, "I'd like for them to speak to you for me, like it's just you and I that are here." And I wish I could fast forward this part. I
I
cringed
know.
so
It's
hard.
so bad. It was so I was cringing. It was so bad. So bad. And I mean, I'm all about like somebody playing music like Juan playing a guitar, even though Juan is a terrible singer and should never attempt to sing ever again on the face of the earth. He's so hot that I could get past that. But this, no. This was a no from me.
I will say this: he wasn't the one singing, but I do think Ikechi is fine. I think Ikechi is hot. It's just everything
He's
else that
okay.
kind of
It's
kills.
something
Everything else
about his
kills
attitude. I feel like he would just judge me and I would not be good enough.
So at this point, I'm just feeling like Ikechi is here to promote all of the things that he's here to promote because, as I pointed out last week, one of his friends who was debut sharing his debut album on his T-shirt is also one of the people that's playing. And if you
Hmm.
watch After Party, he tells us that he toured with them 10 years ago, and he heard this song, and he told his friend, "Whenever I get married, I have to play this song for my
Yeah.
wife." And
Yeah.
his friend came all the way from Germany. I don't know. That's just a lot of time devoted to a fictional character that he had no idea who
Yes.
who it was, and
Agree.
it did not work. And then what makes it worse is that he goes up there, grabs the mic, starts
Mhm.
his poetry or whatever it is that he's saying, and
Mhm.
lucky for him, she's buying it because again, would not work for me. I can't believe the producers kept it, and it was so long.
I know. I know. He was trying to do like a little spoken word, but I don't know what was happening.
Oof, that was embarrassing as far as I'm
Mhm.
concerned.
Mhm.
But in the middle of it, I mean, wasn't her friend there that we find out was a little drunk, tipsy?
Oh yeah, we found that out at an after party.
Just
Which that's totally me at a wedding. I'm like just I love you like after 2 glasses of wine. Perfect.
it's time for them to meet with the friends and family, starting with Madison and Alan. Madison, which is very commendable, speaks very highly of Alan with his
Mhm.
friends,
Yeah.
and her friends ask her, or his friends ask her, hope for the marriage, or they ask him, and he says like he romanticizes a lot of things, and for him the best case scenario is that he's found his person. His
Mhm.
friends ask her the same, and she says, emotional security, that people look at her and think she's gorgeous, they assume she's snubby, she's stuck up, but it's not
Mhm.
true. She wasn't always beautiful, she wants someone who appreciate. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
It was a little too much.
How did we get here?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't always been this hot, but okay.
All of that to say that all she wants is effort and commitment, and she thinks she can get that from Alan.
Yeah.
Her friends ask him why his relationship ended, and he said he was in a 4 year relationship that ended a year and a half ago, and it wasn't healthy. Like, she would come from the gas station, where's your receipt, where did you go? And I'm like, oh god, that's
Mhm.
terrible. And he was made to feel like shit. They ask him, have you healed from it? And he says yes, that he's a huge advocate for mental health. And after going through that, and he also went through a custody battle for 14 years with his parents, that he's
Mhm.
motivated that the love will grow. I I mean, I'm glad he was honest, but was that a lot to drop?
Uh, that was a lot. Did he say he went to therapy?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, cuz I
was it
know
with Bird?
one of them said it. I thought it was Thomas,
Thomas.
but I
Thomas
could be
said
okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Um
he said his parents, after the custody battle, they
mhm.
made them go for counseling
Okay, good.
after that.
All right.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, but again, these people are married already. Like they have to get to know each other, I guess. But I
Yeah.
don't know if I would have led with that,
Yeah.
you know.
Like, I appreciate the honesty on one hand, but I'm just like,
Sure.
again, they don't know each other. Is this conversation
Maybe
we
that's
wait till brunch?
yeah, maybe that's pillow talk. Maybe I whispered that. Again, maybe it's like Love is Blind. I tell you everything off camera and then we just turn the cameras on as I'm reacting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something like that.
But like David said, he wanted her to hear it from him, because that's
Yeah.
true. We have seen in the past the whole, what's her name? Alyssa. Everything turned
Oh.
around for her when his friend said something that she heard from them versus
Mhm.
him. So
Yeah.
maybe it's a case of getting ahead of it before anyone else. But I don't know. If they're gonna
I
stay, they're
just
gonna
remember
stay.
that. What was it that his friend said about him? Oh, I forget. That he's judgmental, maybe?
I can't remember. It was
I
something.
forget, but
I don't.
she had the ick.
Yeah,
And we all had
yes,
the ick from
indeed.
her because she was terrible.
For Michelle and David, all the friends start with, he meets her standard physically, and David is so happy about that. He mentions the blonde hair and blue
Mm-hmm.
eyes again. Michelle is with his parents, and they ask why she did this. She said, well, I keep dating all these guys. I seem to have a bad picker. The common denominator is me. And if I'm sick, I'd call a doctor. And since I have a bad picker, I call the experts. I was like, I didn't love this answer. Like, don't self deprecate. Like,
Yeah, and I was like, you called these experts?
don't call the experts.
Call real experts.
Yeah. So she shares how, like, yeah, Dave was just putting out things for her to know, and she wants their opinion on two of them. She asked about the living situation. The way she said it, like, oh, I heard you guys were roommates. I'm like,
Well, and she's kind of like, so I heard you guys were roommates. How's that going? Is it terrible? Are you kind of like, get out of here? And the
yeah.
mother's like, no.
She's like, as any parent should. She's like, no, like, he's living with them because they've needed him to do things. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
do have to point out the story has changed a lot.
Yeah.
David has said that he was doing it because he's saving money, and then he said it that he was lonely doing the same things. He might as well be around his family. Then he said that he just loves his family so much he wants to be with them. And then this is the first that I'm hearing that he's living with them because they needed him to do things. So
Yeah.
still stand by. If you knew you were trying to get married, you should probably have moved out earlier. But I don't know what the real story is. But his dad isn't speaking. Is all I see.
Well, and it depends too. You're watching current Love is Blind, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So we see this with Nick, right? He lives at home, but Nick has never paid a bill. He's like never lived on his own. This guy sounds like he lived on his own. He paid his bills. He had a life. Like, so I don't know. I would have to kind of know the full story here.
My guest 2 weeks ago mentioned, like, yes, there could be that, but David sounds like he's also being cuddled. Like, he's enjoying the cuddling of his parents. But the thing is, we don't have full details, like you said.
Right, we do see in the preview though that she says something like, "Your mother doing all this shit for you is really giving me the ick." So, what's mom doing?
Laundry, cooking, maybe.
Ew. Now that I would have a problem with. I'd have a problem with that.
We'll see. The friends ask after the camera is down, like, are you ready? And they're after your first big fight, how do you come back from that? Amy, I gotta tell you, I thought that was a stupid question.
That is the stupidest question. Like, what is the fight? We don't even know. The fight hasn't happened.
I I have a friend that hates hypothetical questions. I don't hate
Yes.
them, but in this case, we don't know what the fight is, like you said. So how can he answer that question? How do you come back from that? If you tell me that, let you call, let's say you tell David that his mother is a bitch and that's a fight, you're not coming back from that. But if you tell
Right.
me, like, oh, you didn't put the toilet seat down, well, then I can see how we can come back from that. Like, I don't have an answer for you. Like, don't ask
Right.
questions just for the sake
Yeah.
of asking questions. So that was
I agree. It's a
weird.
bizarre question. Like, maybe they were trying to get at like what's your style of conflict resolution, but that was not the way to ask that.
Yeah.
It was weird.
I wish you could have just stopped at after the cameras are down. What do you see for your future and stuff
Yeah.
like that? But also,
Yeah.
they don't know what it's like to have cameras on because they just started too. So,
Right.
anyways, he's on his best PR voice. He says listening, communication, taking it one day at a time. And then he did say that he appreciated her immediately saying gross when he said he smoked, because he would have hated if she's like, oh, that's fine. And then secretly she's like, oh my God, this motherfucker is smoking and I hate it. He didn't say
Yeah,
that. That's
there's
my
no
words.
way he appreciated her saying gross. Like, think about it. She could have said, "Oh, I'm not a fan of smoking at all." That would have been fine. But like to call him gross, I felt like was kind of a lot.
But he seems like a very chill, I want to say Nick, but
Mm.
if things wrong, I heard that grunt, Amy.
I have a theory about Nick. I feel like
Oh,
he's getting a real good edit and some stuff is going to come out. That's just my theory.
oh,
I mean,
well,
she's terrible too. They're both terrible though, I think. I don't think
yeah,
he's the angel he's being presented as.
yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's true. I can't wait for the reunion. I just really want to
I
know
know.
what people are gonna say after watching themselves. But one thing
I
I
know.
know, reality show people, they don't get embarrassed, so they'll be
And they're
fine.
not really introspective.
No, not really.
Uh-uh.
Here's the thing that kills me. His mom does back him up and says that he's a social smoker, he'll give it up, and that his dad
Mhm.
absolutely doesn't like it because she used to smoke and she's a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
I, I,
Yep.
I you love your family so much. I mean, and I get it. He says it's social and it's not an
Mhm.
addiction. So this is where everything is all blurry for me. Why even pick up a stick? Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
let it go.
Sometimes it's a cultural thing. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, my husband smokes, but he also is in construction, and a lot of people smoke on those job sites. Like when
Mm.
they're out building bridges and stuff like that. I feel like it's kind of a cultural thing. I don't know. I don't
Well,
know. It's weird.
I hope he quits, if nothing else, for
I do
himself.
too. I do too.
So they give him advice that she likes being treated specially. She likes flowers without being asked, and she needs her space, and she's not always super vulnerable. And I'm like, huh, this is not all good things. But David
Yeah.
likes the needing her own space part. He really jumps up at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carla and Juan, they're talking about flaws, and she says she needs to work on her softness, that she's blunt and direct. And his
Mm.
brother is like, if you both have strong personalities, it's not going to work. You're going to have a problem. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Like
"What?"
one of you is going to have to learn to bend here.
And all I wanted to know was which brother is the one that's the tarot card reader, because I thought they would get along with Carla, but they both seemed very Like,
I know. I thought he was going to whip out those tarot cards right there and start.
yeah, yeah,
That would have
let
been
her,
fun.
it
Mhm.
would have. And she would have warmed up easily because then that's something in common that they would have
Oh,
had. Unless
absolutely.
neither of them was the brother. Maybe that brother didn't make it. I don't know.
Maybe.
Camille and Thomas are with the friends and family, and somehow Thomas shares with her friends that he was in a 9 year relationship and he was not a good boyfriend at the end and he stepped out. And the friends are like, stepped out like you cheated? I'm like, as opposed to
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Why do you think he shared that with them and not her? Because they actually talked about it, but he just said they drifted apart. Do you think he was trying to have her have a good wedding?
I think he was just getting drunker as the night went on. And he was just getting more and more honest because that's got to happen, right? So I think as the night is devolving and he's having more and more drinks, and we don't know what questions the friends asked, like this all edited. So
Yeah.
we don't know if they said, kind of like Monica and Steven on Love is Blind, like, have you ever cheated? No, who was it? It was Love is Blind UK.
Yes, that
Have
was
you
my
ever cheated
UK.
with Freddie and Catherine?
Catherine. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like, we don't know. Maybe they asked him more directly and we just didn't see it.
Okay. That's fair. She's with his twin brother, and I noticed that she's already calling him Tom, and I'm like, yay.
Yep, the
And
twin brother, can we just stop for a second on the twin
yes,
brother?
yes,
I have identical twin girls.
you do.
I do. I do.
Oh.
They look alike, but these two, this is like he's wearing his brother's face. This is terrifyingly similar. I mean, they are identical.
They are, but like she
Oof.
said on After Party, after a few, you can kind of tell the difference
Mm,
between both of them. I think we don't have to be in close proximity with them, so we can't tell. But I know I
maybe.
had a guest that was like, "Oh, I can kind of tell the differences between them, like something about their teeth." So,
Ugh, I
but
don't
they do look
know.
alike.
Yeah, it was wild. I'd be using that shit to my advantage. I'd be playing pranks on people. I'd be doing a bunch of stuff.
She asks about commitment issues, and he says, "Well, he got stuck in something that was not the best fit." And
Mm,
then he's telling her friends that, listen, it was a low point, and I have to, after that, I went to therapy. I had to figure out why I had to do this instead of just breaking up with her. And the advice that they give Camille is that Thomas can be closed up, but he challenges her to challenge him to open up. How do
mm-hmm.
we feel about that? Is that good advice, or is that putting labor on her?
It's putting labor on her, as always, as usual. Yeah. I don't know. I like him though. Like I hate to come for him because I really do like there's something about him I like. So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. This is
Yeah,
again, these are other people's opinions of him. So let's see how it goes.
that's true. Like, I like him, but it's just, it behooves me to vouch for a man, is the
I
problem.
know, right? It's antithetical to who I am and everything I stand for. But I don't know. This
we'll,
one's decent, I think.
we'll give him a chance. We'll give him a chance.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, MM and Ikechi, when they asked her why she did this, and she says she's been focused on her career for 15 years and the guys that she meets don't want to commit. And I'm like, at what point was the point where she was engaged? Because they dropped that when she was getting ready
Yeah,
for the wedding. So
that's true. Yep.
this whole focus on the career, it was enough for you to get engaged and it was enough for you to have a relationship that led to an engagement. So let's
Mhm.
keep the story straight. And then Ikechi shares that he was cheated on,
Ugh.
and that was it. I don't think we got like a lot of detail on that.
Yeah.
Then they bring up him writing to his wife for like forever, and I'm like, this just sounds weirder every time I hear it. Like, it's not the cute thing everyone thinks it is.
Well, okay, so this could be done like letters have a place in romance. Let's look at Taylor and Garrett, for example. Taylor
Hmm.
brought into the Love is Blind pods the letters, the love letters from her grandfather to her grandmother. Perfect use of letters in a romantic setting. This is not.
Well, also because he's mentioned it so many times that I'm thinking he thinks that's what we want to hear. If
Well,
you've
and
been
like
writing,
aren't they just his journals at this point?
well,
Cuz he
it's a
doesn't know
book.
anything about her?
It's a book that he's probably going to sell. you
Oh,
know.
maybe,
And then
maybe,
he'll
yeah, maybe.
after maps
Hmm.
he's gonna write journeys through my experience and experiment or whatever the hell it's gonna be. So
Yeah, yeah.
he meets with her cousin. His her cousin is not letting him have it. He did say that he was engaged, but he ended mutually. And he asked him, "When was the last time you dealt with a woman?" He goes, 12 years ago. He goes, 12 years? In 12 years, you haven't dealt with a woman seriously? He
I
goes,
know.
I have, but not to the point where it goes past a certain point. And I'm like, well, that's not seriously. That's just
No,
a situationship,
that to me is a red flag.
especially considering he's 41.
Yeah, 12 years, no relationship at all.
Hmm.
Mm,
And he said
mm-hmm.
it was like 6 months. Like I said, I think he's the kind of person who's very nitpicky. He gets
Yeah,
into a relationship and he's gonna be like, "Oh, this person does this, I can't do this," and then he fixates on it, and then it's an excuse to break up with them.
yeah, I agree 100%. He would hate me. He would just hate me. I just know he would. I don't know why. I've done nothing, but he's the kind of person that's going to hate you when he meets you.
Her cousin is not easing up at all, and he's like, "Listen, you sound good on paper, but I just met you, so I don't know. I don't know if you're ready for marriage, but we're just gonna have to find out." So he says you have a way with words. By the end of the day, again, I don't know you. He's also
Mhm.
wondering, he tells us that he's wondering why Ikechi left Houston. Is he running from something? I'm like, no,
Yeah, how about that?
he's running to meet the casting agents of MAFS.
Like, is there a warrant out for your arrest in Houston? No, dude. Chill. People move all the time.
Yeah. I think he was just being hard on him, but he moved for work, so
Didn't we have that a few seasons ago? I want to say, what season was it where somebody moved for the show? Wasn't it the
Nashville.
season?
That was
Yeah.
married to Dominique, and
Yeah.
he didn't even have a place
Yep.
where he
Yep.
lived and
I
to do
forget his
that.
name, but yes.
I
Mhm.
forget. I see his face right now, but I don't
Yeah.
remember his
I'm
name.
surprised you came up with Dominique. That was good.
Someone, but that's the thing. I'm the person who, when I listen to stuff, I'm yelling out names, and then I'm like, this is how it happens. You're on the spot, and you're like, you just can't think of the name, but someone's yelling at us right now.
His name was McKinley.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
who it was. That is who
Wow.
it was.
Wow. Okay.
So the end of the wedding happens. They're doing the round robin of them dancing. Everyone's having a good time. Madison and Alan have a good garter moment.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
Alan's ripping that garter off with his teeth.
yeah, and when he tries to leave, Madison's like, "You're not done yet," and she pulls him to us, and I'm like, "I love
Yeah,
them
it
so
was
much.
it was
It's
wow.
good."
Mhm.
And was there with the Nigerian culture. So for anyone who doesn't know, we've done a Patreon episode a long time ago about Nigerian weddings, so you can find all context on there. But if you saw them like spraying dollar bills on her, it's part of the
Mhm.
culture where at weddings, parties, and things like that, you spray money. It just signifies good fortune and abundance
Okay.
for the couple. So it
Mhm.
was fun to see. Camille asked her friends how they feel about Thomas, and she says she really likes him. They share about the cheating and all that, but she asked pointed questions. This is how you know someone who's mature. She's like, okay, so was it at the end of the relationship? And when they said it was, she's like, yeah, like this is, basically what they've been saying, but I don't want to, focus on that. And we talked about it like a little bit, but she didn't give off like,
I
oh, this
agree.
is news to me. Oh my God, my life is over. Like some people.
No,
Michelle.
she understood that there's nuance here and
Yes.
wanted to hear him out. And I thought that was good.
Yes. And because Maps has refused to grow up, they have assigned her friend to be the one asking what's happening tonight. Basically, they always assign someone to be like, "Are you having sex? Are you gonna do that?" If I
Yeah,
ever
are
was
you
on the show,
at least we don't have, well, maybe we will. So there's two phrases, right? They've moved to have you been intimate, but it used to be have you what do they call it? Not consecrating the marriage. What is
consummated the marriage.
consummating? Have you consummated the marriage? So we don't do that anymore. But now it's are you going to be intimate? Have you been intimate? And I don't need Pastor Cal asking me if I've been intimate. I'm just going to say that.
Pascal doesn't even ask. Pascal is just, "You should do it. She's your wife," and I'm like, "Oh God."
That's true. That's true.
Madison tells her friends that the only red flag she gets is that Alan seems to be accommodating and being a giver can only go so far. And I'm like, honestly, if that's your only complaint, you're starting out good.
I
And
agree.
her friend is so smart because her friend brings up like his toxic relationship and his family trauma, and she's like, you also had the family trauma. And Madison says she appreciated that he told them and not her. And then the friends are trying to fill in the gaps and like, oh, maybe he didn't want you guys to trauma bond in your wedding and all that stuff. But either way, all things are still green for Madison and Alan.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful like an idiot. I know I'm going to be let down, but
Michelle sees why they were paired, but she's stuck on the little things. Her friend asks if she thinks it has legs. She starts stuttering. Yeah, no, yeah, it wasn't convincing. And then
mhm.
she starts
Yep.
crying and says that she feels bad because he's so excited, but she's hesitant. Her friend tells her to take a deep breath, and they go to the bathroom, and she has a meltdown. She's like, he lives with his parents, and I'm
Yep.
fixated on it, and I don't know what to do about it. And I'm like, this has to be something deeper because I understand being concerned and being like, oh, I don't like this, but this reaction is bigger than this to me.
I agree. This really triggered her in a deep way, which means she's had some experience with this type of situation. Either somebody couldn't pull their weight financially, something. She's very worried about this.
Yeah. David said he knows that he just tells his family that because his family asked, do you think she's feeling you? And then he brings it up again. They said, I'm physically her type, so that feels good. I know
Mhm.
she's overwhelmed, but, I'm hoping that he's still hopeful that it
Mhm.
works out.
Yeah.
Carla won. They're dancing. Carla says she feels amazing and she can see him being her forever person. And they all end the night, run through their bubbles and lights and rave sticks
Mhm.
and whatever it's called. When they all go to the hotel room, I noticed that Thomas is the only one who carried his bride over the threshold. Like,
Yeah, how about
what happened to
that?
the men? What happened to the men? Why
I
didn't
don't
you carry your
know.
wives?
I don't know.
Michelle asks how he feels, and he says he feels great, that he just wants her to be comfortable. As much as we give David a lot of shit, I do think that he's intuitive. He understands that she's overwhelmed, understands that she's a little bit not comfortable because even when she was having the breakdown, you could see him just being like, where's my wife? Where's my wife? Like looking around,
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah, and even on after party, he was like, "Oh, I felt so bad that she was so upset." But here's the thing with David. I like him on paper, but like, is he one of these guys that pretends to be the nice guy? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it
That's
could
what
be
I worry
any
about.
of them. It could
Yeah, it
be
could be
any
any
of
of
the
them,
guys.
but he
Yeah.
seems like such a nice guy, and I'm like, we'll see.
I know. I
Jury's
had
out.
it like a turnaround this episode. I was like, oh, but he seems so nice.
Yeah.
Um, she said it's gonna take time for her to be comfortable. I'm like, oh gosh, these are the people I do not want to see on any reality dating show. Like, it takes me a while to warm up. I don't trust people. My
Oh,
guard is
like
go away.
Brendan in season 17 where he wouldn't even move in?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
just go away. You mean
Yep.
Brennan? Was it Brennan?
Brennan, yeah, Brennan,
Keep
sorry.
saying that. Yeah, I'm like, guys, like, go away with that. But it's
Yeah.
because they're not feeling the people. That's really what it is. It's
Yeah,
not a
yeah, that's
guard
totally
thing.
what it is. She has the ick and she doesn't want to live here.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be with them.
But he tells her, like, you can ask me anything. Like, anything you have a question with, like, we'll talk about it. Her friend did give her good advice during her meltdown and was like, talk to him about it and don't let this derail anything. So she brings up the living with the parents, and he says again, like, I choose to. And she claims that she likes the communication. I don't know if this helps her
Mhm.
in any way, but again, we'll find out, and we don't know.
Yeah.
The joke is you can't come back from an ick, but Jamie and
Yeah.
Doug did it, and it's about time we get a second couple that did it, so they don't
Yeah.
keep the title. So who knows?
Yeah. The
Who
ick
knows what
maybe can be overcome. Let's see. Jury's out.
happens? So he says that he's very laid back, and he came in with no judgment zone.
Mhm.
Madison and Alan Madison is undressing and he tells her to zip she tells him to zip her down, and we find out that she had no underwear on, and she's like, "Yup, no underwear." And I'm like, I would have never thought it for this couple. I swear to God.
Okay.
MM is being unzipped by Ikechi. She does like a little whine or a grind, and he tells us that there's a level of chemistry. And I'm just happy that he's saying something positive. That I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's like, "There's a level of chemistry." I'm like, "There is? Because I don't see it, but okay. We'll trust you."
So Carla does the same thing, does a little dance like MM did, and as he's unzipping her, the camera shot pans to a canister of condoms on the bathroom counter, and I'm like, I mean, at least stay safe, guys. If anything's gonna
Okay.
happen,
All right.
even though I think it's too far, shouldn't it be on the bedside or something?
Yeah, that is pretty far. Who says, "Hold on, let me get up and go in the bathroom to put a condom on"?
1 second, BRB.
Yeah, it's
Unless,
weird.
okay, we're just thinking too hard about it. They could take a pack to to the
Oh, that's
bedside.
true. They
Just
could
take a
take it out of
handful
the
to the
container and bring.
bedside.
Yeah, that's true.
I just thought it was funny, and I just think they intentionally panned to it because I'm like, why? It was like a shot like through his hands and stuff, and I was like, okay, MAFS producers.
I'm always so interested, and this is the same with Is Blind, is who is gonna bang the first night, because that tells you everything.
Ha, does it though? It's the people who usually what is it? Start fast, burn faster.
Maybe.
Remember
Yeah, maybe.
and all that, and that was just a dumpster fire for Houston.
But I think the people who are like, "Oh, we're gonna wait a while," I think they almost never make it.
There's a third category. They're the people who actually have sex and lie to us about it.
That's true. That's true.
So
Whole season. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we never
Yep.
know. So Carla shares that she sleeps naked, but she has on like her teeny top and shorts to sleep with. As Amy said earlier, he plays the guitar for her, but this man cannot sing, and I
Oh my
agree,
god,
should
he
never
sounds
sing
like me
again.
singing. Jesus.
It wasn't as romantic as I was expecting, but at the end, when he started spitting some rhymes, that was better than the singing, and she seemed into it. And as long as two of them are feeling it, I'm down with it. I'm good with
Look,
it.
if you listen to my show, you know I am a sucker for a man with an acoustic guitar. I would This did not do it for me. I was like, "Nope, nope, make it stop, make it stop." It was bad. Real bad.
So Camille, I'm only mentioning Camille and Thomas because I don't understand how they climbed on the bed with the pedals on. And they went to bed with the pedals on. They did not sweep it
Yeah.
off, take it off. And I'm like, do you guys not see this? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, that was weird, right? It was almost like and none of the pedals were really messed. So it was kind of like, did you just fly onto the bed and land like a drone situation? It was really strange.
Yes, it was.
Hmm.
David comes in, his hair is all free, his curls are popping. But what stood out to me is that he's going to bed in the same shorts that I think we saw him before when he told his family he was getting married. And those shorts look like swim trunks.
Oh, I didn't notice this.
The
Ooh.
orange
Okay.
shorts. And I was like, huh, okay.
Huh.
Go to
Okay,
bed
that's a
with them.
choice. Hmm.
We visit family with them. Versatile shorts. That's good.
Hmm.
Alan comes in a white tank top and pink underwear with broccoli on it. And Madison
Yes.
is like, "You're not gonna wear underwear with broccoli on it." I don't know. I was like, why can't he?
Yeah, it was a choice. I mean, if you're trying not to give somebody the ick, maybe children's underwear isn't the right move to make.
I thought it was
Just
funny. I would have thought it
telling.
was funny. And this was the closest to being half naked. He was giving DTF vibes to me.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
I would take that over what season was it where he came in a onesie. No.
Oh. Oh, who was that? Oh, I
It
can't
was the
remember.
earlier season, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah. I
also
forget.
Amelia and whatever her husband was, did he come in a once? No, he came in a dress, a night dress.
Amelia and Bennett.
Bennett, Bennett,
Mhm.
yes, he came in a
Yep.
night dress. I would take this. I would take the white tank top and the pink underwear because
Oh,
my
remember
read
them?
on it.
Bennett can like ride a unicycle. I'm sorry, I was just down the Bennett road. Go ahead.
Oh, was it Bennett or Amelia? Amelia came in on the unicycle.
Oh, could she ride the unicycle? Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I knew one of them had
yeah,
a unicycle. Okay.
yeah. She came in. She didn't walk down the aisle. She rode down
Mhm.
the aisle
That's right.
on the
And he
unicycle.
was digging it. Mhm.
Yeah. So they spoon and all the couples cuddle and kiss goodnight. And then we hear Alan ask, when the hell are they getting out of here? So we're going to see if something happens.
Yeah, Alan
Because I
wants to
think
bang.
Madison was pretty nice and loose from all the events of everything, the excitement, the giddiness, because she
Mhm.
kind of like, grabbed him in the elevator and pulled him in for a kiss. So
Yep.
it's looking good.
Yeah, I don't know why I think they could work, but I think they could work.
Honestly, I think they're everyone's favorite couple right now
Yeah.
because everyone's expectations were so low.
Well, I do like Thomas and Camille a lot, but that's because I like him. Like I like all the stuff with his dad that he was talking about. Like I was really moved by all of that. I thought that was really I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah.
like him. I like his brother. So we'll see. Are
Yeah,
they
I
the
mean,
same
Thomas and
person?
Camille.
Who knows?
Thomas and Camille are my top couple. I understand that they may be boring, but
Yeah, they're boring, but that's okay.
boring is not
Hmm.
bad all the
You
time. Like,
need that one boring couple to root for.
yes,
Yeah.
they'll be our Danielle and Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. Look at those two kids living their best life, popping out babies.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. So that was it, for the episode, and then we get the season preview where all the drama is coming through. I can't wait for their version of the dinner from hell. Every time they put these
Yeah.
couples together for a dinner, something comes out of it, and we see yelling at them, and they're trying to console her. David is allegedly texting someone. Michelle is like, "You don't do that," and David is like, "What do you want me to do about it?"
Well,
I'm
did you
like,
did
"What?"
you hear what yelled? If you give me a clown, you're going to get a circus or something like that. And I was like,
Yes.
"Wow, I like that." Mhm.
Oh my god. And he must, oh gosh. Anyways, we're gonna find out anyways. But before we wrap it up, is there anything else you want to add from the episode?
No, I enjoyed it though. Do you feel like it's okay? So we're 3 episodes in. We got all the weddings done. Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's moving at a faster clip?
Um, not actually compared to 3 seasons ago, yes. But in the
Hmm.
previous seasons, they've been moving pretty fast because
Yeah.
remember with the Runaway Bride, they started with the weddings, ended it, and kept it moving.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
going pretty good at a good pace. The problem I have is next week is one of my least favorite. The brunches after
Oh
and the
yeah.
family asks the same
Yeah.
questions and all. I want them straight to the honeymoon. Like
Yeah,
I want to see
straight
the
to the
honeymoon.
honeymoon. I feel like a lot so here's what I try to watch. And everybody who's listening, go back and watch the season preview and try to look at it through this way. I always look to see is there footage of each of the couples after the honeymoon? And I didn't see a lot of footage of David and Michelle outside of the honeymoon.
Well, the part
No,
where
was that no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was there was one couple, I forget who it was now, that I did not see footage of them outside the honeymoon.
okay, so let's go through them like through the dinner.
Okay.
Madison and Alan were there, right? Actually, no. I see him punching, but I don't remember the dinner. Who was consoling MM?
I think MM was consoling Alan.
Yes, but when she walked out, someone ran after her. So it was
Oh,
either
yeah, and
Michelle
I
or
can't
Madison.
always tell the difference between Michelle and Madison, I apologize.
So one of
Um,
them was there.
hmm,
Maybe Carla and Juan? Did we see
maybe,
them?
maybe,
Maybe.
yeah,
One
yeah.
couple was missing, I do
I
believe,
agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
at the dinner, but I'm not
Mhm.
sure who it was. But that's the thing. Maps will make you so paranoid, and then it'll be totally wrong. Because, like Jason mentioned last week with Dominique and that guy that she kissed, it was just way completely off. And we're all like, oh my God, how did this happen? So, you know,
Yes,
they're taking
yes.
us for a ride. So
Yep,
we'll
I
see.
agree. I agree.
All right, Amy, who has your bouquet for the episode?
Okay, Tane. I think I'm going to give the bouquet to, believe it or not, I did not think this was going to happen, but I'm going to give the bouquet to David
Oh, that's
because
nice.
he was really shamed on camera in front of a national television audience, not a big one, but a nationally televised show is being shown. And
Yeah.
he was shamed and ridiculed, and he took it in stride.
Yes, he did.
Mhm.
He
Mhm.
did.
Mhm. How about you? Do you want to do yours and then we'll do the ashes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I was gonna give it to the friend again, but I gave it to the friend last week, so I'm just gonna go with
Mm.
Madison and Alan. They made me so
Mm.
happy every time I saw them. Like it wasn't awkward, it wasn't nervous. They just seemed like people who decided I'm just gonna give it my all. They seemed really into each other, and I was just like, this is cute. I'm into it.
Yeah.
Into
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Okay. So who has your ashes?
I think it's going to be EKG. And everyone in that wedding hall that had to listen to all of that nonsense.
Why did
All of
they
them
have
collectively.
Metro bystander? Oh man.
Those poor bastards. They're like, we just want to show up for this wedding. It's an open bar. We want to go have the chicken marsala, whatever. And they end up having to listen to that. I don't know.
Something for his wife.
Yeah. How about you?
Mine goes to Michelle. I get
Mm,
being upset or concerned, but give it time. You cannot come to a show like this without having an open mind, without
yeah.
wanting to give it time, without wanting to see, okay, do the pros outweigh the cons, but to fixate so much that, oh, he lives with his family, also knowing that he's very close to his family. Like, I don't know. I would be
Hmm.
concerned, but not to the point of that meltdown. So
I
she gets
agree. I
my
agree. And
ashes.
I mean, I don't know what you're expecting. Like, everybody, do you notice everybody on these shows is super hot too? Like, even the ones that are not super hot are way hotter than I could ever dream of being. So it's like, I don't know what you're complaining about. Yeah, he
Yep.
smokes. Maybe he'll quit. I don't know, whatever. But you gotta, you're right. You gotta come into this with an open mind. If you're doing Love is Blind and you're like, have you never watched the show? You're trusting these experts?
Yeah.
And you got to be open to it, dude.
Yeah. And these are all fixable things. Like even with the
Yeah.
smoking thing, you can quit. Even with the living with the parents, you can move out because I don't know if she thought
Yeah.
he was gonna drag her to live with him in the basement. I
Oh
don't like
God.
what is
Do you
the
remember how good the seasons used to be when they had to go to each other's houses and live there?
Oh God, yeah.
That
And then
was
they
when it was
switched
good.
it.
That's when Tom tried to force Lily to live on the bus.
That is true. I think because of that, they started giving them a budget to rent a place, and I'm like, oh gosh, that's
Yeah,
it.
they
It just
started giving them the budget to rent, and now it's you get the sterile apartment,
the furnished apartments. The
Yeah.
show really has evolved a
Yeah.
lot. So,
Yeah, it has.
well, it was so great having you, Amy. And before we leave, can you share with people where they can find you?
Absolutely. And thank you again for having me. I am at Little Miss Recap, and you can find me anywhere you listen to podcasts. And like Tane said, we cover all the trash of the 90-day universe. We cover Sister Wives. We cover true crime. It's just a mismatch, mashup over there.
Yeah,
A
check it out,
hodgepodge.
guys.
It's everything.
Check them out, guys. And for us, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at AltaCall MAFS. Please give us a 5-star rating on Spotify Podcasts or Apple Podcasts. And we will have a new episode next week. Don't forget to vote, guys. It ends next week.
And
And
I'm going to invite myself back right now. I need to come back
of
because
course,
we are not finished here. We need to see if she overcomes the ick. This
okay.
is the journey we have to be on now.
Yes, my money is on a no. It's gonna be your no. So yeah, but yes, of course, you definitely come back to conclude the
Thank you.
saga.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.